name is Jason JROCK Houston. You guys are listening to an interview being done for Chaotic Riffs Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.chaoticriffs.com. It's my great pleasure to speaking with Affinity Lead singer Ashley Curtis. How you doing tonight, Ashley?
I'm good.
And now you guys are based out of Toronto, Canada. So I'd like to ask you, what's the rock scene like there these days?
It's pretty awesome. There's a huge rock scene here, actually. A lot of rock bands, kind of like different genres of rock, and lots of places to perform, and yeah, it's pretty good.
And so, as a band, how long has Affinity been around?
We've been probably like 6 years, I think.
Oh, wow. So is this a band you formed, or was it an existing band that you joined?
I'm just trying to remember the actual origin of it. No, we got together with some people that were also playing in the scene, and just kind of got together and decided, kind of together what kind of band we wanted to do, and what kind of songs we wanted to write. So just got together with some people that we met in the scene, and it kind of went from there. And so it was a few different people getting together, and coming together.
And I got to share with you, Ashley. I've never really heard of your band until your publicist got in touch with me to set up this interview, and then I went on the internet. I checked out the video you guys just posted for the song "Let Them In," and I was really impressed. So my next question was, over the 6 years you guys have been together, how many CDs have you released?
We released one actual EP and then a bunch of singles.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we were kind of releasing a lot of singles here and there for a while, and then writing and releasing more of. We released an EP last summer, but now we're going to be releasing a bigger record this year. Finally.
Finally, well,
we're really pumped about that.
You've had 6 years to kind of get out there in the trenches and make a name for yourself. So, what's the reaction you guys have been getting from the fans, over the 6 years?
I think that we do something pretty different. Like, I don't think when people look at me, they necessarily think I'm going to get up there and, front like a hard rock band.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely surprising, and it's pretty cool to see that reaction. But, we're a hard rock band or rock band or whatever genre you want to call it.
Yeah.
But it's melodic, it's catchy, it's hooky. It's not your typical, I would say, wimpy rock. It definitely has an edge to it.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's addictive, and people definitely are into that, and the reaction it shows is very favorable. Yeah,
that's definitely a great way to describe the overall sound of this band. Because I got to tell you, again, when I first got on Facebook and was checking out your guys' Facebook page, I was looking at some of the photos, and kind of what you just described kind of went through my mind until I, played the video, for example, for a song, "Let Them In," and I thought, wow, looking at the photos, this looks like a sweet little, I expect almost like a melodic rock thing, and then I thought, wow, this band can really rock. She's really a rockin' singer and stuff, and it really took me aback. And again, this is a guy just watching the video for the first time. So talk a little bit about this latest single, "Let Them In." I understand it's a cover song. How did you guys decide to record this?
That was super last minute. My guitar player sent me a YouTube link, and he's like, check this song out. And I already knew of the band, Paris. I've been following them for a while. I hadn't heard of this song, so I just checked it out, and I'm like, oh my god, I love it. Kind of similar vein to us as far as a female vocalist with a strong voice, and that rock vibe. So I'm like, I want to cover this, but let's do our own thing. Let's make it more hard rock. So that's kind of what we did, and then we just recorded it. We did it all on our own, actually, and it turned out really well. So we did a video for it, and just something kind of a personal little creative project that we wanted to do before we go in and record our own original music. But it was super fun, and it was cool to pay homage to a band that I really admire. So
now, educate me a little, because again, I've never heard of this band Purvis, and it's kind of interesting.
It's called Paris. That's your first lesson.
Paris. Okay. Thanks for education there. But now, are they another band from Canada, or?
No, they're from the States, actually.
Oh, wow.
They're from New York. I'm not exactly sure where they're from, or they're from down south or something, but they've just been blowing up over the past couple of years and kind of making more of a mainstream debut. But they've been around, I don't know, for like 5 or 6 years.
Well, I'll have to, later today, I'll have to check out some other stuff that they've got online. Yeah. But, that's kind of a cool thing about doing something like this, because not only are you guys, getting a new single out there and people are becoming aware of your band, but through covering this other band's song, people, such as myself who've never heard of a band will go and look them up and, find out what they're all about. So in a way, you guys are providing them with a great service as well, in addition to covering their song, I think.
Yeah, totally. I mean, whatever works.
Yeah, and I'd like to talk a little bit about the band's name. That's a cool sounding name, Affinity. I mean, it's kind of one word. It gets people's attention. How did you guys come up with the name?
That was, I literally remember the night that we came up with it, because I went out for drinks, went out for like a million beers with my bass player and our previous member who was a guitar player. And we were just like literally sitting there and shooting the shit and just throwing names back and forth. And a lot of the names I gave were just terrible, and the more beers I had, the worse they became. And then our guitar player came up with this cool name, and he emailed it to everyone the next day, and then we were kind of like, I like that name, and it relates to me because it really means like to have a likeness for something. We all really kind of, like the same type of music. We want to do something different, and we want to like really, put out music that's heavy and has this melodic component. So it just was not only a cool name, but really kind of also spoke to our music. So yeah, it was Drunken Nights, and then kind of the next day we all agreed, and and you want a name that people can like, say. Like you always think of like what they're gonna say if you want like an encore or something. So if you want something, you want a short name, a cool name that they can pronounce, and that's why we went with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it accomplished just that. Like I said, when I see it, I thought, oh wow, that's simple. It's one word. People are going to remember that. And let me ask you, Ashley, when you were growing up, who were the bands or even the singers that inspired you to do what you're doing these days?
Good question. I think that I have a really eclectic group of influences. I listened to like a lot of different types of music growing up, and my taste really changed from when I was a kid to when I was an adult. I think my first kind of foray into rock music was No Doubt. I remember getting that CD and playing it until it was completely worn out. And I just remember seeing her on TV, Gwen Stefani, and just being like, I want to do that. Like, that's so cool. Like, she's just up there, and like, she's a great voice. She's fronting this band, and it's just really cool. And Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill, that was a big, big influence for me. Again, I can literally sing every single note, every single word on that CD. And then as I got older, I got more into Foo Fighters. Soundgarden, Pearl Jam. I love Pearl Jam. And just more into like the rock and listening to more male vocalists and to see what they do. And Evanescence too, when she came out, kind of changed the game as far as like a female going out there and really singing over hard, like almost metal, I would say, music. I mean, that was so different at the time, and it was just super cool. So I would say all of that really shaped me, and I try not to like listen to one band all the time. I try to like listen to a lot of different things to shape. So it doesn't like influence you too much, but you take little things from everybody, and then you kind of have your own sound as well. Yeah, but cool. Yeah, so those are the big ones.
The cool thing about that too is, like you said, especially when you go to write songs, the more collective you are about the types of listening more to one type of music. I would think when you go to write your songs, it allows you the ability to write different types of songs as opposed to just being a band, say like AC/DC, who does the same three chords over and over. And it's kind of interesting because you mentioned like being influenced by Alanis Morissette, and when I kind of look at your photos, you kind of there's something about you kind of reminds me of her. I don't know. Hard rock or whatever,
it's a Canadian thing. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, but it's kind of it's kind of interesting because she's another one, like you said, from Canada, and interesting thing about Alanis Morissette is is that when everybody thinks of her, they think of that one album, A Jagged Little Pill, and but yet that album, if you look at what it sold, it's no surprise that she's had the kind of influence on people such as yourself. Even just off of that one album, and you bring up No Doubt. That's another. That's another great band I could see being influenced by the fact that a great female-fronted band. Interesting thing about No Doubt is proof to me that band really kind of really made a huge influence or kind of an impact on the music industry is the fact that out here in Los Angeles, where I'm from, they've got a No Doubt tribute band, and they do pretty good business. So I mean, the fact that there's a band out there paying tribute to them, get up there on stage and dress it just like they do, and trying to look the part and sound the part. I think, okay, that's proof to me that a band's really made their stride or made their mark.
Exactly. I think it's really interesting too. I was talking to someone about this the other day, just about the iconic albums that I remember, and a lot of them are like 20 years old, like 15 years old. But I'm like, they stood the test of time. Like there aren't those I can't think of any in the past few years that had that same impact. So I don't know, just they just ring true to me.
Yeah, I mean it's funny. Like even you watch these shows like on VH1 or MTV, and they talk about one-hit wonders, these bands or these songwriters that made a huge splash with just one hit song. But the amazing thing about that is you may be thinking, oh, they're washed up, they're dried up, they're not as big as they once were. But a lot of these guys, they're making millions of dollars just off that one song or that one album. It just
totally.
just amazes. So
totally.
And let me ask you, we were talking a little bit about tribute bands. Is there a huge tribute scene there in Canada like there is here in the United States?
Yeah, at a lot of the bars, there'll be, the bars that you go out at where they don't have original live music, they'll have cover bands. So there's tons of that. Any day of the week you can go somewhere and there's a cover band. So yeah, I'd say the scene's definitely there as well.
And let me ask you, Ashley, being a female-fronted band, I mean, a lot of people that are talking about your band, I mean, that's one of the first things that probably they bring up or that they talk about, even when you're reading articles that people write about you guys.
Funny.
Is that something? That bothers you, or you kind of? Is it just like another part of a story? I mean, do you have a problem with people bringing that up?
No, I really don't care. I think that until it becomes completely normal and an average thing, then you kind of have to promote the female aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing because there are, in the grand scheme of things, there are very few that actually become mainstream. There's very few. So you remember the female because there are so few of us, I guess.
Yeah.
But in the past years, there's Hailstorm, Pretty Reckless, Paris, bands like that is becoming more normalized, and I think in a few years you won't have to preface your band with it's female fronted.
Yeah. I mean,
we'll get put on bills, it'll be all female fronted bands. Something like that bothers me because I'm well, I don't really care. It shouldn't really matter your gender. But on the other hand, I want to promote women in rock music because of all the bands that were influential to me growing up. So I think that that's important to do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of showing my age here, but when I was growing up, there was maybe 2 or 3 women in rock that were really big. I'll give you the names: Lita Ford, Joan Jett, and Dora Pesch. And now there's a whole truckload more. There's got to be at least 10 female front bands. I mean, one that comes to mind is the Butcher Babies. But it's more and more becoming more and more of a regular thing, and I think it is quite a good thing. And the best thing I could say to people that just discovering your band Affinity for the first time, again, I'm kind of a new fan. I've just kind of discovered the band myself, and best compliment I could give you guys is like I said, there's now that you tell me that you're somewhat influenced by one of the people that influenced you is Alanis Morissette. I kind of get that. I could kind of see that now, but I will say this: I'm not going to tell people that if you put out this latest single, let them in, that you sound anything necessarily like you're Alanis Morissette clone or anything like that. It's the furthest thing from you guys have a great original sound. You're not trying to sound like anybody else, and I guess the point I'm trying to make here is, when you guys formed this band, is that a goal you had? Is that we don't want to sound like every other band out there? We want to kind of have our own sound?
Oh yeah, I mean, when we first started, we were figuring out our sound and what we wanted to be, and then over the years, we really honed in on that. Started writing songs a certain way, but even when we do a cover, I'm we make it sound like Affinity. We make it sound like us.
Yeah.
So we do have this original sound, and I think that it isn't like anything else that's out there because it's not metal.
Yeah.
But we have that kind of metal influence and that hard rock influence, and these melodic vocals that aren't wimpy. I definitely get it, and I like having that, those rock vocals that they're energetic and they come from the soul. I like singing like that.
Yeah.
So putting those together, I think, is something different. And, sometimes it takes people people a little while to figure that out because they don't really know where to place it. You know, they're like, well, what is this? So we are trying to do our own thing, and I think that anyone, if you're out there, you should be trying to do that. You don't want to clone someone else.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Take your influences, but like have your own sound.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that's what we strive to do for sure. That's definitely what we do.
And I think you guys have accomplished that. I got to say that. And you know, what's the chemistry like with you and the other guys in the band? And I guess what I'm asking here is, I guess it seems like you guys are pretty good friends, but do you ever get bothered by the fact that, you know, that like a lot of people, like even, you know, doing interviews, or even just when people come up and talk to the band after a show, a lot of people maybe coming up to you and they're kind of like, you know, because you're the lead singer or whatever, because or even, you know, when advertisements are posted of a band that you're front and center and everybody's kind of in the background. Has there ever been any issues with that?
Like Almost Famous, when it's like the person, everyone else was blurred out in the back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, they don't care at all. They're like super supportive and like understanding. And I mean, if you're the singer, that's just kind of part of the game. Like you're just faces out there. You're the face of the band.
Yeah.
So they definitely get that, and they're super cool. And
it's cool that they have.
Not in it for that, you know, reason at all.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that that your bandmates have that attitude, for the simple fact, you know, maybe you are getting the lion's share of attention, and a lot of people want to talk to you, but at the same time, you know, if people are coming up talking to you, they're talking about the band, and you know, people come to the shows, and maybe, you know, maybe these people go out and buy the CDs. So I think it's something that works for everybody involved, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and I like at shows and I'm like, people come up to me for sure, but people come up to all the other guys too. I mean, they're phenomenal. Phenomenal musicians. You know, it's like I think that impresses people most of all. It's like I'm playing with some of the best musicians in Toronto. Like they're really, really good at what they do, and it's impressive. I mean, I'm impressed just being on stage with them. So I think other people feel the same way too. Yeah,
and you know, another thing is, you know, people make this big thing about you know, female fronted bands, but I think too, you know, you could have the best looking, you know, female front in your band, but you know, if there's no substance, if you don't have any songs, the band's, you know, you could even, you have a band full of pretty looking people, if you know what I mean, or great looking band members, but if the songs aren't there, you know, which is the next thing I'd like to talk about, the songwriting. Be that you're the lead singer, do you contribute like most of the lyrics? Do you write most of the songs, or does everybody in the band contribute to the songwriting?
We all contribute. There's like kind of the three core members, myself, Mac, and Chris, who really write the songs. And it kind of depends. Like the structure's a little different. Sometimes people will come in with more of a fully formed idea. Sometimes we'll come in with like a melody idea or like a chord structure, and then we'll build the song from there. And then I do most of the lyrics and kind of come up with what I want to talk about in the song. But yeah, we definitely collaborate, and we try to work in small groups at first and then build the song up from there. But everyone has their input in it, and I think that's what makes every song have that affinity sound, because we know what we want, what our sound is, and what we want to sound like, but then everyone puts their little touch on it. So you can really hear those like individual elements.
And as far as recording goes, when you guys like go and record these singles, or you know, do you record like one song at a time? Do you go in there as a band and kind of record live, or does each guy kind of, or each band member kind of you know, record their parts separately and you kind of piece the whole thing together like a lot of bands do these days?
Yeah, we go together. I mean, we like to all kind of be there for support. But you do things one at a time. You know, you do the drums, bass, guitars, vocals, and that's just how you do it. But we try to be there for each other when we're recording our stuff. And
you guys, when you go in to record, you typically like, are you recording one song at a time? Do you maybe try to record like 2 or 3 at a time? What's the general process?
We've done both. We've been doing kind of the single thing for the past few years, and then we did do one smaller EP. But now finally we're going in with a huge collection of songs, and we're going to do the whole album thing, the whole EP thing. We don't know how many songs are exactly going to be on it, but it's going to be a good amount, and it's the first time that I'm really, really excited to go in with a collection of songs that I think is Affinity. It is who we are. It's our best material. It's songs that we've been playing live for a while that are new, and people have heard them recorded, and it's going to kind of a first foray out into not just in Toronto, but we're getting out of Toronto, and we're going to, you know, showcase this music as far as we can, and hopefully people will really dig it like we do. Yeah,
and as far as this new full-length album you guys are working on, like any of the singles that you've previously released, will they be featured on there, or will this be all new material on this album?
It'll be, so we haven't decided if it's going to be, it'll be, you know, if it's an EP, it'll be a long EP. If it's an album, we might include some previous singles that are remixed. But that's kind of things that we're still working out. So we're going into the studio this weekend to start. So we have everything written and pre-production done. So we're going in now to record it. I don't know how long the process will take, but definitely this year we'll have it out. And it'll be a lot to listen to, a lot of really new, exciting music.
That's cool. And then you kind of just touched on this, but my next question was going to be about touring and the fact that you guys pretty much just primarily toured throughout Canada. Have you ever been like to the U.S. or is that kind of the next step where you're going?
That's the next step. We definitely want to come down there. I've been wanting to do that for years, and I think with this new record, we'll have the opportunity to do that. So, anyone listening, spread the word so we can come to your town and play.
And you yourself, Ashley, have you ever had an opportunity to travel anywhere outside of Canada, or will this be a first for you?
Yeah, my sister lives in California, so I go there a few times a year, and I love it. I'm like a West Coast girl living in an East Coast world, I swear. It's so nice there. So I go there a few times a year, and
And so let me ask you, Canada, is that where you're originally from?
I am. I'm from the East Coast, actually, originally.
Okay.
I'm from New Brunswick, a really, really small town. I grew up there, and then I moved to Toronto to pursue music.
Oh, that's interesting.
And, you kind of have to, because there isn't a lot of music going on where I'm from, but it was a really good, growing up experience.
So as far as being in Canada, would you say that's been a kind of a wise choice moving there? I mean, you think it's really helped you to get your music career going?
Absolutely. If you want to do music, you should definitely be in Toronto, just because there's so much going on here, and this is where the scene is, I think, as far as if you want to go out and play live, and if you want to meet musicians, there's a huge scene going on here. There's other cities, too, like Montreal and Vancouver. I just think Toronto really has it going on, and has a really big scene. And
so how excited, I mean, you're obviously not a stranger to the United States, but how excited are you to finally have an opportunity to, bring the band here to the U.S. and have, a lot of other people finally discover the band?
I'm so pumped because in Canada, when you tour, the cities are very far apart, and the population is a lot smaller. And in the States, you have you have way more markets to hit, way more cities to hit. And I love the States. I mean, I love going to New York and California, like I said. I've been down south a few times too, but I'd love to see more of it. And I think that anytime I've ever been there, like people I think they listen to a lot of rock music down there. I think it's a really good place to go if you are in like a heavier band. Like you said, Butcher Babies love those bands. They're from the States and they do quite well, and they tour in the States constantly because there's people like going to those types of shows. So I am excited to bring our stuff down there.
Yeah, and the very last thing I'm going to ask you before I let you go is I want to talk to you a little bit about the internet and the power of the internet. I mean, you guys, you especially, Ashley, and the rest of your bandmates must get this all the time where people are hitting you up on Facebook, and it must be an amazing feeling, being a band from Canada. You must get people messaging you from all over the world. Like, for example, I'm sure people even, not just from the United States, but Mexico and all kinds of other countries where you guys haven't even performed. That's got to be... That's got to be an amazing feeling to think, wow, the band hasn't even stepped foot in these countries, and somehow people are discovering our music. That's got to, really make you think for a minute. That we're touching people.
It's so cool, and you can go on YouTube and see what place in the world people are viewing your video, and you can see where they're from, and like Japan, Australia, whatever. And it's so cool. And someone will write you, and then they might not even be in English, and then you have to translate it, and it's just so cool. But I mean, that's the day and age, right? Something, and it can go all over the world, even if you haven't been there. And it makes me sad because I want to go there, but we're just, in the essence of things, a young band, so we're still.
Yeah, but I mean, it's pretty amazing feeling just to just be able to think for a minute, like we're saying that, you have people, for example, from Japan contacting the band hasn't even. Released anything where you haven't even, played there yet. And it's like, stop and think, somebody's actually listening to, Affinity. Somebody's actually all the way in Japan discovered our band. That's got to be, we haven't even played there. That's got to be a pretty amazing feeling. And it really does show you the power of the internet. Now, you brought up YouTube. But very last thing I want to ask you is, what is that experience like? Going on YouTube and see these live videos, people are coming to your shows and shooting. I mean, I imagine you see your live performance on YouTube, and what's that like for you?
Yeah, there's this one guy who always comes to our shows and he'll post it, and I was seeing him at shows in Toronto, and I know who he is. And he's awesome, and he just posts it. And sometimes it's great, sometimes it's very humbling because you're like, oh man, like the sound was crap that night. But when people post I'm up there on stage and I have my own thoughts of the show, but getting to see it from their perspective is really cool.
And do you find when you go on YouTube or even the internet, you're looking at these clips people are posted, do you sometimes find that your own worst critic, if you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. I'm like, oh my God, like, it's terrible, you know what I mean? Like, you're always, but it's good, because then you know what not to do, and I've done it so many times, like, when someone criticizes you, and then you just kind of let it roll off your back, and you take it in and filter it a little bit and make some changes, but, like, also just trust yourself and have fun. I think that's the best thing you can do.
Well, Ashley, thanks once again for taking time to talk to me. I really have enjoyed talking to you, and I know your time is limited, so I'm going to let you go. But before I do, just let you know.